tomorrow, drawing runners from all over the world like Tim Ellis, who came all the way from South Africa.
The amount of people, there's no race bigger than this, and it's all the international runners that come to watch or come to participate.
Tomorrow's will be the 45th running of the New York City Marathon. More on these stories from townhall.com.
Healthcare, entitlements, taxes, probate, and elder law issues. Family Heritage Group presents Ed Outland's Aging with Dignity.
The situation is we're aging baby boomers. We're just working longer. That's why I'm still talking about this stuff. I want clients to come in, sit down with me, get an understanding of what we mean when we say we're going to provide you with an income for life model and show you how we can make your money outlast your life.
Aging with Dignity with Ed Outland. Every Saturday from 1 to 3 on AM 1380. The Answer.
Hey guys, Dave Diamond back from MyPillow. You know, I feel better the whole day. I don't toss, I don't turn at night. I wake up refreshed and rested. Try MyPillow for 60 days. If it's not the best pillow you've ever owned, send it back. MyPillow has a 60-day money-back guarantee. You got nothing to lose. I'll never go back to my old pillow. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code KTKZ. Take advantage of this 2-for-1 special. Buy one, get the other one free. 2-for-1 special. It won't last forever. You know, the holidays are coming up, and if you need to buy a gift for someone, MyPillow is perfect for the entire family. Plus, you can order MyPillow right now by phone. Call 1-800-725-3164. Guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code KTKZ. MyPillow is super comfortable, allows for a deeper, more restful night's sleep.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
If you could choose any school from which to earn your college degree and be on your way to a better life, would you choose a school the Wall Street Journal recognized for producing some of the best qualified graduates? One the Princeton Review ranked as a leader in undergraduate education, and one U.S. News & World Report named #1 in the nation for innovation ahead of both MIT and Stanford? Discover why Arizona State University is a clear choice for your future. In addition, ASU Online offers over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs you can take 100% online and on your schedule. You'll receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as our on-campus students. For information, call 1-800-720-2358. U.S. News & World Report also ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So get started today and learn to thrive with Arizona State University online. Call today at 1-800-720-2358. That's 1-800-720-2358.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had numerous credit cards, and I was struggling with paying them off, so I made the call.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360.
The people at Trinity are very friendly. They will do whatever you need them to do in order for you to feel better about being in a very difficult place.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360.
Carlos, talk about the grilled meats at Flame and Fire Brazilian Steakhouse in Roseville.
Our tasty meats are served tableside by our skilled Gaúcho chefs. Picanha top sirloin, lamb chops, filet mignon, bacon wrapped chicken, pork ribs, and many more. You're also gonna love our pão de queijo, warm cheesy bread rolls, delicious caramelized bananas, and our Brazilian papaya cream.
Are you from Roseville?
No, I'm from the south of Brazil. Flaming Fire Brazilian Steakhouse is the most amazing restaurant in Placer County, voted top 100 steakhouses in America.
Make your reservation at flameandfire.com. What's going on this month?
All this month come to Flame and Fire for our Gaúcho Tuesday special. Just $30 per person for dinner on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 9 p.m. 10 delicious meats, endless rodizio tableside serves, hot Brazilian side dishes, and gourmet salads. For reservations, go to flameandfire.com.
That's flameandfire.com.
AM 1380. The Answer.
The information you obtain from this show is not, nor is it intended to be, legal advice. You should consult an attorney for advice regarding your individual situation. We invite you to contact us and welcome your calls, letters, and emails. Contacting us does not create an attorney-client relationship. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Well, good morning, Sacramento. It's the Saturday HOA Brunch, your power hour on common interest developments, right?
Oh, good morning, Jonathan. Happy Halloween.
Right, this is our first spooktacular special.
It is. I think this is the balmiest Halloween ever.
They say that winter's coming one of these days, but I actually thought I saw a ghost this morning, and I realized, no, it was just our production engineer, Frank Jolly, in the back. So, Viana Barbu is not with us today. We miss her. She has some family in town, so we'll give her family a little shout-out for visiting the beautiful Sacramento region.
Exactly. So we're Angius&Terry law firm, and our show is about community associations. Thank you for tuning in, listeners. Thank you for our loyal listeners tuning in. And today we are, well, what have we talked about before? We
talked about all kinds of things.
Rules, internal dispute resolution, conflict of interest, reserve studies, all things community association.
Legislation that has affected, right, that'll affect community associations and common interest developments. And on that note, I also want to say we had a contestant call in last week. I believe it was Ronnie, and he says he's a listener. I tried calling you a couple times this week, Ronnie. If you want to give us a call so that I can get your information for your prize, please do so.
Right. So you can call us at 888-923-1380. KTKZ, the answer, 888-923-1380. You can listen to us on the computer as well. You just hit the play button. And what are we going to talk about today?
Oh, we've got a special guest in studio today. I think we're going to talk about that word that sometimes turns out to get a little bit nasty sometimes in board meetings. Is a special assessment.
Help. Special assessment.
When that comes up.
Right. In particular, special assessments for any reason, but primarily for replacement of reserve items, such as roofs, things of that nature. So who's our guest? So excited.
Another expert, another leader in the industry in this area that deals with community association management and has dealt with special assessments. Miss Angela West from Reliable Association Management. How are you, Angela?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, welcome to be here, Angela. Angela West is with Reliable Association Management, one of the best management companies in the Sacramento region, right?
Thank you, Brad.
And you've been around for 11 years?
I've had my company officially since 2002, but as you know, because of our long history, I've been dealing with HOA management since the mid-'80s, because I started out, as you know, as a board president.
Yes, so we have a lot of war stories, Angela and I, where we have successfully litigated some pretty serious cases for her associations when she was board president. So think of that. So she was a board president, board member, and then transitioned into managing community associations. What a better way to be able to help associations as a community manager than to actually have the experience, long-term experience, right?
I agree. One of the things that when I was a board member and then a board president, basically, we started off doing what we did because of what happened with our association. We were a very new association, and then after a few years, things weren't really happening. I started checking into that for the community. We got a whole new board, hired new management, and that's when all of those things that we had issues with came to the fore in terms of some things that you and I handled early on, lawsuit with the water company because we were paying for water that wasn't ours, needing to gate the community. And of course, I was one of those early associations where over a series of years, we had to do special assessments once I became the board president because we had all of this very bad news that was unexpected that the members in the community knew nothing about.
Right. So it happens, it meaning special assessments and the need for them. Yes, absolutely. We could talk for the whole hour just on our war stories because we were really successfully teamed up with some great strategies and tactics to litigate. And the interesting thing about Angela West with Reliable Association Management is that she's very proactive. So to her, managing an association is not just reacting to angry owners. Rather, it is taking steps like a chess game, as it were, to actually get to where associations need to be. And I'll tell you also what Angela West with Reliable Association Management does is she will predict different problems that associations may run into even before the owners and the board members.
Yes, and Brad, this I think has its foundation in my background being my first career was in computer networking. And so as everybody knows with computers, it's something that you have to be very logical, and problem solving is step-by-step oriented, basically taking a problem, breaking it up into pieces, and then finding the best solution. So it really dovetails very well with my later career when I decided to open my own business. One of the things that we do for our clients is not just to look at where we are right now and the things that are going on with the association. As you said, part of that is looking to the future and saying what things might we be faced with, and how can we come up with a plan of attack to position ourselves to be in a better space later on. One of those key things is doing things like putting in electrical before you actually need to, updating your components. These are things that happen actually later when you have your community being 30 years old. If you've been proactive by actually starting that project before you have an issue, then insurance and costs decrease. People are very, very happy because you decided that you were going to update the electrical and put in new lighting before you actually had an issue. So all of those kind of things really work well with being proactive, and my background as a computer network person really helps with that logical
How long
conclusion.
were you a computer network?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
All right. Well, we've got Battle of the Board Members, right?
Yay,
That's
Battle of
coming
Board
back
Members.
today.
Yes.
So we've got 2 board members that are going to duke it out at the end of our show. And I think it's going to be our first Halloween edition. It is our first Halloween.
Is it our first Halloween we've been on the air?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So what is it? Assessments generally, right? You want to just talk about what the duty is for, it's managed. The association budget falls to the board, right? The board has to manage all the budget.
Well
right?
said, Jonathan.
It's
Absolutely.
their duty.
So we have right. So I hear what you're saying. You want to talk about some law. Okay.
Yeah, we have to for the contestants. It's for the people.
Okay. So where do we find the law for community associations? We find it in the Davis-Sterling Act. The Davis-Sterling Act.
Great book. Great book.
And that is Civil Code section. So you have the Civil Code, Code of Civil Procedure, the Criminal Code, the Vehicle Code, the Government Code, Health Safety Code, Business and Professions Code, a lot of different codes. The Civil Code, in this one in particular, is Civil Code Section 5600. These are new Civil Code sections that we're all trying to get used to. They're about a year and a half old. And in this one, it's 5600A, and what it provides is that associations shall levy regular and special assessments sufficient to perform its obligations under the governing documents in this act. So,
like maintenance?
It's an obligation. And a lot of homeowners will say, your job as a board is to keep assessments low. Whereas the experts that come on our show say is, no, board members' job is to spend the association's money.
And it's their duty to have assessments to keep the community aesthetically pleasing, right? So
True.
It might be in their best interest and their fiduciary duty to gradually increase those assessments so their reserves are fully funded, right, Angela? Would you agree?
I would agree with that. But the third thing that I would say is, yes, their duty is to absolutely maintain the community with those assessments. But a part of their duty is to make sure that they're receiving the right cost for those services. That's part of keeping those dues at a reasonable level. You don't just go ahead and get an increase from a vendor and just say, oh, well, they just increased us 15%. Part of your duty is to go ahead and make sure that you're making sure that you receive the right cost for those services.
Perfect.
All right.
And that's her claim to fame. That is her claim to fame, to look and see the other side of the equation, not just the spending the money, but what you're spending the money on. So when we come back, we're going to talk about special assessments, regular assessments, and
what's the
further law.
difference?
What's the difference in the law on that subject?
And then Halloween Battle of the Board Members. We'll be back.
The balmiest of Halloweens.
Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry LLP. And now your hosts Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Getting kind of funky coming back to the studio from break, the Halloween edition, right?
Halloween edition, yeah. We want to go ahead and dedicate this one to Timothy Adam Epstein. He contributed to this show.
Yeah, he's up in Reno.
Excellent.
No, any relation there? I heard a familiar last name.
Could be.
My
brother, absolutely.
So we're back in studio, the Saturday HOA Brunch. We've got Miss Angela West here from Reliable Association Management. Angela West. If you want to call in, 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380. We're going to talk a little bit about the law, and then we're going to talk about a real-life scenario with respect to special assessments, the dirty word special assessments. So associations, they are not supposed to impose assessments that exceed the amount necessary to defray the cost for which it is levied. Battle of the board members, contestants, bear in mind, that's going to be on the test right there. Associations, you can't go ahead and impose a special assessment if it's going to exceed the amount, for an amount that's necessary for that use of the special assessment. So what you have is you have regular assessments, and therefore the regular operation expenses of the association. Sometimes, however, there's a budget shortfall for a particular expense at the association. For whatever reason, this is not necessarily a breach of the fiduciary duty of the board of directors, but they didn't put enough money aside for replacement of large components. I think you hit the nail right on the head. There's laws, and it's not like this group of tyrants that meets monthly or annually doesn't have to follow a set of guidelines, to raise. They have to. There's requirements, right, for approval. To raise assessments, there's law, so that you can't just say, well, look at these mean people again, they're raising our monthly dues. Well, there's a requirement, and there's a reason. And people need to understand that we're going to discuss a real-life situation.
Right. The board of directors, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to get a reserve study. And Browning Reserve Group, that's one of the finest reserve
Bobby,
analysts.
Right? He might be out ham radioing today. I don't know.
And so once you get that reserve report, reserve analysis, that tells you a prediction of what the association needs to put aside in the reserves. Put money aside so they can replace those big components like siding. And so One thing's important, though, is that the board of directors, they can't go ahead and raise regular assessments more than 20% or impose a special assessment. So a special assessment is an amount that the association must impose as a lump sum, or they can make payments on too, but it's separate from regular assessments. And you can't go ahead and impose a special assessment that's greater than 5% of the budget gross expenses for the fiscal year. Above that, you need vote of the owners. And interesting vote, you don't need a majority of the owners in that vote to impose a big assessment or to go ahead and increase regular assessments more than 20%. It's just a majority of 50%, so about 26%. It's not a majority of all the owners as a whole need to vote for that special assessment. The law doesn't make it that difficult to impose a special assessment. It is more lenient, there's easier to get that done. So you got the regular assessments, typically monthly. Association board homeowners have to pay that, but not enough money, so there might be a lump sum
that's needed. Right. So, I'm looking over at the fancy computer here, and we have our first contestant for Battle of the Board members later. Maggie, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing just fine.
You're all dressed up in your Halloween costume, ready to go trick-or-treating tonight?
A little old for that.
Yeah, age is just a number, right?
You got that right.
All right, so we're going to just discuss a little bit more in regards to special assessments and talk about the law and get some more insight from this great management company owner, Miss Angela West. And then at the end of the show, you're going to answer some true or false trivia questions regarding... that trivia word, right? Your head it's not trivia.
It's not trivia. Trivia is I think the definition of trivia, right, Angela, is...
Come on, Angela, let's get this
something frivolous.
Yeah, something frivolous.
All right, it's not frivolous. This is true or false questions.
About association management, law, running it,
special
board members.
Assessments.
Yeah.
All that
Okay.
good stuff.
We want to hear a real life scenario so we can wrap our heads around this. Angela West made the suggestion at the break. She has one for us. Angela?
Okay.
Deliver.
We have a small association client with 14 homes, okay? And so when you have a small association, of course they have way more problems with trying to do something very large when they have to do a big expenditure because there's a smaller number that are actually putting into the reserves, okay? So this particular association had a need. Their siding reached the end of its lifespan, and really water intrusion problems and so forth. Now, one of the things that plagued this association prior to our management was that many people didn't want to raise the dues for many, many years. So then they went through a series of dues increases very quickly to the point where they're at $200 a month. But that still didn't make up for the shortfall of all those years of not really saving the money.
How old is the development approximately?
The development is 28 years old.
28 years old.
And their siding is at the end of its life, and so that's what happened. Now you have 14 homeowners, and then you have this issue where you have the rotten siding. So what you can do is you can obviously have a special assessment where you're going to have a huge amount of money that needs to be paid right away for all these people in this association, but who can actually come up with $4,000 or $5,000 all at once?
I know. A Bank of Sacramento, right? Bank of Commerce Sacramento, a loan?
Yes,
if they needed
that's
it?
one of the options, and we've done loans for several communities. One of the things about having a loan, though, is that you do have to absolutely pledge the association assessments for the next however long that loan is, 5 or 6 years. So you can have a special assessment that you pass, and the special assessment would pay for the monthly loan payment. The other option is the association board members can pass a special assessment that the actual homeowners will pay a monthly fee each month for, let's say, 3 years, and that will actually help them because if you have those dues go up 20% a year as you can by law, you're not going to really get the money that you need to really start that project. You need a lump sum of money. You need a great deal of money to be able to actually do a siding project. So what they selected to do is $100 a month for 3 years.
And it worked out for them?
It's worked out just beautifully.
And I'm sure it's now, when you drive by that community, it's got that great new siding and a paint job probably.
Yes, James Hardy.
Wow.
And so the thing that happened there is after 3 years, their dues are not basically at $360, which if we'd have done 20% over 3 years, we would have had the dues over $300. and they still wouldn't have had the project done.
Okay, let me underline some of the law for our Battle of the Board Members contestants.
We got to do that, right? We can't just throw them a bunch of curveballs and they say, well, we didn't even hear that. Yeah.
Right. So as a board of directors, you can increase the regular assessments, like Angela said, up to 20%. Otherwise, you need a vote of the owners. And as you're hearing, Angela West is a very helpful, proactive association manager, but that doesn't mean you as a board member can just sit back and not comply with your fiduciary duty. A manager is an agent for your association. She carries out the wishes of the board of directors pursuant to the governing documents and the law.
Like a year-round Santa Claus. Right? You go and you meet with the manager. You guys sit at a table and you put your Christmas list together and hope that everything happens.
Right. And the last thing on that segment is that boards may allow owners to pay special assessments in monthly payments as well. So that's permitted. A special assessment is a lump sum kind of a imposition on the owners, different, distinctive from a regular assessment because regular assessments go forever. However, special assessments, they don't go forever.
That's for an individual or specific situation when you have a special assessment. Now, I want to bring this up because everybody likes to hear about the drama and the juice. With your experience in being in the industry and having to have special assessments occur in some of your associations, what kind of stories about maybe some crazies that have come out in these meetings when you say, hey, okay, everybody, we're going to have to do this special assessment? Have you had any situations or stories where there's been some characters that come out of the woodwork and are really haunting you?
Oh, absolutely. We had one where before we became the manager, the association had been paying a special assessment for 7 years. We took the association on. They had a loan, and unfortunately, they still had $90,000 when we took them on. The homeowners actually came to a meeting, and it was pretty much lynch mob because they had been paying for 7 years.
No kidding.
And they didn't know that they were not actually servicing the whole loan, and now they owed $90,000 still, and the $2,500 a month payment with no funds.
That's important. So there can be a linkage between assessments and a loan. I mean, typically a lender's collateral for a loan given to an association are the future assessments.
Wow.
Right? So there's lenders specifically that will lend money to community associations, and they're not going to go ahead and put a lien on the homes. They're not going to put a lien on the common area as collateral. Instead, it's the future assessments. And this whole idea of assessments, regular and special assessments, again, it's linked to the fact that associations have reserves. And if they lack adequate reserves to replace the common area components, like in this case, the siding, then indeed there needs to be a special assessment imposed. And it's really hard to do, right? You have to hold meetings.
You have to hold meetings, educate people. You have to give them the information about the bids, how much it's going to be. They need to be able to see that information to know that the association management and the board have done their due diligence. You give them that information. They know what this means. If they don't do it, they know what it's going to mean 3 more years, 2 more years. If they keep waiting, those components are going to keep deteriorating. Their property values are going to keep declining. Perhaps they're going to have water intrusion and they're going to have even more damage. Or perhaps they're going to face what's called an emergency special assessment, which means you can levy any amount that you need right then and there when there's an emergency that's actually putting people's health and safety at risk, like a hole in the roof, which I've had that before too.
Or mold.
Yes.
And that, talk about having to diffuse a lynch mob.
Yes.
Right? An emergency special assessment. That could get, you could get some hot and heavy meetings. Wouldn't you say?
No.
No, not at all. You're joking. All right, well, we're going to go to break here. And when we get back, we'll check in with our second Battle of the Board member contestant, Gina.
Don't go away.
It's going to be exciting. And more from Miss Angela West.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
Hi, this is Rick Russo, owner of Russo Insurance Agency and Financial Services. We proudly serve Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, and the surrounding areas. At Russo Insurance Agency, we like to say, get to know us before you need us. Our insurance agency is built on relationships and trust. If you want to be certain that your most valuable assets are insured correctly, allow us to give you more than just a 15-minute quote. For all your commercial, home, auto, and life insurance needs, call us today at 916-791-1901. That's 916-791-1901 or online at rickrussoinsurance.com. That's rickrussoinsurance.com. Thank you.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
We're back, 9:33 in the beautiful haunted KTKZ 1380 studio for a spooktacular edition of the Saturday HOA Brunch. And I want to check in real quick with Gina, because Gina's on the line, and she's called in because she is going to participate in Battle of the Board Members. Gina, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yeah, are you gearing up for a bunch of trick-or-treaters tonight? Or are you going out trick-or-treating? Or you've got big costume party you're going to? What are you doing on Halloween besides joining us on America's #1 community association talk radio show?
I'm going over to a friend's, and we're going to pass out candy there, and we're going to have a party.
Dressing up?
Yeah.
Big dollar bill sign, like a special assessment?
Yeah,
or what are you?
What are you dressing up as?
I'm going as Raggedy Ann.
Raggedy Ann. How many years as a board member?
Huh?
How many years as a board member?
I've been on the board for 6 years.
6 years.
A hardened veteran.
That's it. That's what I would say. Okay, so continue listening, and we're going to talk a little bit more, right? You're shaking your head, special assessments.
Exactly. This will be on the test. So there is a connection not only between loans and special assessments, but there's a connection between the reserves and special assessments. So association reserves, this is where the association sets aside money. That's right, Angela, separate from the operating accounts. And what the association has to do is they have to do an inspection every 3 years. They have to do a visual inspection. There's not a requirement to do any destructive testing to peel back any layers, at least not yet. And a myth. This is a myth, and it is kind of confusing, but board members must make sure their association reserves are 100% funded. No, that is not a legal requirement. Boards, they don't need to make sure their association reserves are 100% funded at all times. That is the law. So what we're getting, this reserve issue about this board of directors having to do inspection every 3 years, having to put money aside for the major components that the association has to maintain. They could either be in the common area or just those components that they have to maintain.
Well, the components, too, that are responsible for the maintenance, the board's responsible to maintain, those are all, where do we find those, right? You don't go to the library or in that, set of governing documents?
Right. So
CC&Rs.
it's in the CC&Rs. The requirement to do those inspections is in the law, in the Davis-Sterling Act. So there's always this need by board members to know the
Hey, so we have one call here, and so Franklin, who do we have calling in? We've got
Stephen Lashbrook, and he has a question for you.
Stephen. Okay, go ahead, Stephen. Your question.
Yes. Hi, Brad. This is Stephen Lashbrook. I've managed properties for quite a long time. One of the common issues we have is, for example, fire sprinklers. It's something that typically you have to keep up with a 5-year annual inspection, and then there's possibly quarterly and other annual inspections you have to do. The issue becomes when you have to test fire sprinklers within each unit. And if you look at the CCNRs, it clearly states a homeowner responsibility.
Stephen, first of all, Stephen, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it. We like to hear your...
Good question. Angela's shaking her head, too, because fire sprinklers are obviously an important component in an association because they provide safety, right? If there's a disaster like a fire.
Absolutely. And this is a tremendous issue. Stephen Lashbrook, he has, as association manager, long time, he has had experience in this, in that there, with associations he has managed, the local jurisdiction, the fire department, has imposed a requirement on his associations to test the fire sprinklers, but the fire sprinklers are in units. They're in units. So, Stephen, what kind of trials and tribulations have you had to go through in order to get into the units, get into the homes, in order for the inspections to be performed?
Well, inherently, Brad, as you already know, it's just like if you decide to do all the windows at condominiums. At that point, it becomes a maintenance issue for the HOA. So it's really difficult sometimes, and that's where you really have to work with your HOA attorney to determine how to approach this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you know, and to make it worse for wear and tear, the issues, the times where Stephen and I had to work on this to get into units, there was also defects in the system. And there was recalls. Oh, it's terrible. Stephen, thank you so much for your input, for calling in. We're going to send you a $50 gift card. Thank you so much. We hope you have a great Halloween.
Thank you. You too. And also, could you please explain a little bit more on the assessments as far as emergency assessments versus special?
Calling in so Brad doesn't have to press the bill button.
Excellent. We'll do, Stephen. We'll do.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So, right. And this is really where the rubber hits the road on these problems being proactive or reactive. And Reliable Association Management with Angela West, they are one of the most proactive, if not the most proactive management company around. That's one of their claim to fames. That's why she gets a lot of business. But there do come times when you can't anticipate. You can't anticipate where there's a problem. And associations, they generally don't have this big sum of money that's sitting aside in a separate bank account where they can take care of these contingencies, because there's basically community associations are supposed to be, the idea is to have zero sum budgets. I probably said that wrong, but you're supposed to have the assessments that equal what you're going to spend that year. Am I right, Angela?
That's absolutely correct. One of the key things about this whole thing about emergency assessments, I'll just give you a couple examples that we have. One of the big things that's been going on in the last few years has been the actual implementation of putting water meters in communities, okay? When you have a water meter project that comes into your community, this is a project that you don't know until the city, the county, or the water districts say, I'm going to now put water meters in your community, usually with about 6 months, maybe 3 months notice. So then you now find out how much it's going to cost. You find out that if you let them put it in the way they would like to implement it, that it's going to maybe be more cost because the number of water meters that they're going to put in versus if you actually did some type of an infrastructure upgrade. In this case, it can be a great deal of money for you to do that preliminary work as an association to actually reduce your costs in the future for the long term for the homeowners. There's like tens of thousands of dollars. This is tens of thousands of dollars that you become aware of in a very short period of time. And now you have to address that with either an emergency special assessment, which is monthly, or a lump sum.
Angela West throws us another nugget on the Saturday HOA brunch. So we're going to go to break. When we get back, we have Gina versus Maggie, battle of the board members, right? You excited?
Sounds great. Sounds exciting.
All right.
Don't
we'll
go
be
away.
back here shortly in the fourth quarter of the Halloween Spectacular.
Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company, providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Well, we're back from break, and we have two excited board members, I'm hoping, on the line. And they are going to play.
I think they're pretty excited.
Absolutely excited.
I would be if I were them.
Right. Gina and Maggie. So we've talked about special assessments. We've gotten a real-world example from Miss Angela West and Reliable Association Management.
How do you say that?
Reliable Association Management.
Reliable Association. It is a tongue twister.
There was a little bit of stuff in the punch bowl in the bag. So. All right. So
it is Halloween.
We're going to go ahead and Maggie and Gina, you're on the line. We're going to ask you each 3 true or false questions in the first round. The second round, we're going to ask 3 true or false questions. And then you're going to have 45 seconds each in the lightning round to answer 5 true or false questions. We are going to keep score, and we're going to award a Halloween winner. So, Brad?
Okay, and just a disclaimer.
Oh,
no. We have, let me put it the positive way. We have covered in our show today 90% of the questions.
We have more episodes. We'll get back to special
and we're going to give our
assessments.
contestants a break, right? If they miss some, it's because we didn't completely cover it,
Yeah,
right?
I want all the questions.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. But
Who's first, Jonathan?
Well, we
flip the coin.
Yeah, flip a coin. Call it in the air, Gina. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Well, it is Heads. Gina, you're first, and Brad Epstein's got 3 questions for you. True or false? True or
Okay,
false?
so this is for Gina. Go, Gina. And Maggie, just go ahead and wait your turn. So question number 1 for Gina is as follows. Board members don't always have to abide by their fiduciary duty if they rely on a manager.
True. No. True.
She went back. I'm going to say it again. We're going to give her another chance. Board members don't always have to abide by the fiduciary duty if they rely on a manager.
No, that's false.
It is false. See, I like how she said true, and then it was no. So that one's false. They always have to abide by the fiduciary duty. Number 2, an association's CC&Rs dictate how regular assessments are allocated among the owners.
True.
That is great. Good job, because we didn't cover that. Number 3, boards are allowed to, without the owner's approval, levy special assessments up to 5% of the current fiscal year's budgeted gross expenses.
True.
That's great.
Score, Miss Angela West. I think that's, 3 out of 3?
Yes, absolutely. She
Okay,
did fabulous.
and Maggie
Fabulous.
does. But I know. See, Jonathan gets a little competitive with the ones when he gets a question. So you have a mulligan too, okay?
Yeah, I've got a lot of faith
Maggie
in
has a
Maggie.
mulligan,
Maggie, are
yeah.
you ready for your 3 questions?
I'm ready.
Let's keep this thing tied up. The board of directors may increase regular assessments by up to 20% of the association's preceding fiscal year without membership approval.
True.
Got it. Board members will not be liable for their actions if they rely on a manager to enforce the governing documents.
False.
Got it. Boards may allow owners to pay special assessments in monthly payments.
True.
Got it. 3 out of 3.
Fantastic. Wow, didn't need
Right,
the mulligan.
Angela?
Yes. Oh, Maggie did great too.
All right, round 2.
Okay, back to Gina. Question number 1.
All tied up.
All tied up. Gina, number
Yes.
1. Number 1. Special assessments may be used to replace reserve components.
False.
That one is true. They may be
Okay.
used to replace reserve components. Number 2.
Oh.
A fiduciary duty is not a legal obligation, but rather a guideline for how board members should act. You want me to? I could repeat it in this round. You want me to say that one again?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. A fiduciary duty is not a legal obligation, but rather just a guideline for how board members should act.
True.
That one is false.
Ah.
Number 3. Reserve funds may be used for repair and replacement of major components.
True.
That one is true.
Got it.
Okay.
So that's 1 out of 3, right, Angela? So
One out
I
of
think
three.
she's 4 out of 6 so far?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, Maggie, it's time for us to pounce. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. Boards must impose a special assessment if they lack adequate reserves to replace the common area components.
Can I get that question again?
Absolutely. Boards must impose a special assessment if they lack adequate reserve funds to replace the common area components.
True.
That one is false.
Yeah.
That one is false. It's not a requirement to do that.
It's not. Okay,
We
second
got a
question.
real horse race here.
Boards have to comply with the Davis-Sterling Act provisions regarding levying of assessments.
True.
Got it. Typically, a lender's collateral for a loan given to an association are the future assessments.
True.
Hey, that's 2 out of 3, so I believe
Okay,
that's...
we got a close race.
Yeah, 5-4 right now, right, Angela?
Right.
5-4. Exciting.
Lightning round. We got to get this right on Halloween.
Really? I think today we get a break. You're
40
being more strict.
45 seconds.
45 seconds.
Can't repeat the question.
Okay, Gina, it's your turn. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm ever going to be.
What was the Halloween costume? Raggedy Ann?
Yeah.
All right, Raggedy Ann.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Gina 5 questions in a shotgun approach, and I can't repeat it, and we have 45 seconds. Go ahead, Jonathan, you're going to hit the
what
clock.
did you say that you were going to you were going to do what?
Okay.
You were going to do like a shotgun approach. All right, I'm ready. I've got the clock ready.
Okay. Gina, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. Boards must make sure that their association reserves are 100% funded.
False.
Correct. An association manager is an agent of the association.
True.
Correct. A visual inspection of major components in the common area should be done at least every 3 years.
True.
Correct. Owners may never make monthly payments on special assessments.
False.
Correct. Member votes on special assessments must be by secret ballot.
True.
Correct.
Well,
The
she aced the
comeback
lightning.
kid.
Sounds like you
The
had some of that
comeback
punch in the
kid.
back that
Yes.
Frank made. So that's 9 out of 11 questions.
9 out of 11.
Pretty good score. Pretty good score. So Maggie, are you ready to
scared
go?
now.
No. Well, it is. I mean, it is Halloween.